Travis Kelce thought marrying into a $2 billion bank account would guarantee his future, and what nobody expected was how spectacularly his master plan would crash and burn in front of the entire world. The truth surrounding the most anticipated wedding of the century has finally come out, and this is no fairy tale romance, but rather a hostile corporate takeover. On May 20th, 2026, the ultimate betrayal found its way into the light when leaked legal documents proved that Travis and his management team tried forcing Taylor Swift into a devastating financial trap. Their goals centered on making her bankroll his entire life while demanding access to the empire she spent decades building. They severely underestimated the smartest businesswoman in the music industry, which meant Taylor did not just reject his demands. She orchestrated a brutal legal counterattack, leaving Travis in a state of total career meltdown. Receipts have surfaced absolutely everywhere, with the exact clauses of their prenuptial agreement painting a disgusting picture of sheer greed. Believing his superstar athlete status provided undeniable leverage, Travis felt completely confident he held all the winning cards. His team drafted initial paperwork guaranteeing him a massive payout, even if the marriage failed, requesting a percentage of her future tour earnings alongside joint ownership of any future real estate purchases. They even slipped in a clause expecting Taylor to cover all shared living expenses from private jets to luxury vacations without him spending a single dime of his own NFL money. This calculated scheme existed solely to drain her resources while shielding his much smaller $90 million fortune. That entire plan spectacularly backfired the moment Taylor saw right through the manipulation. Activating her elite legal team immediately, she shut down his ridiculous demands because the financial gap between them is simply staggering. Reaching a net worth of over $2 billion took years of fighting tooth and nail to reclaim her masters and own her intellectual property. Handing over a single percentage to a man who viewed her as a walking ATM was never going to happen. Leaked documents reveal the exact moment the power dynamic flipped when Taylor handed Travis a completely different contract. This ironclad and humiliating agreement exists specifically to protect every single penny she owns, and the way she executed this maneuver is absolute genius. Everything hinges entirely on the location of this legal battle. Wanting the agreement drafted in New York or California, his lawyers knew exactly what they were doing because those states frequently throw out prenups and award massive spousal support. Seeking a loophole that would serve as a safety net, they hoped to guarantee Travis millions in a future divorce scenario. Taylor blocked them completely by anchoring the new prenup in Rhode Island, executing a masterstroke of legal warfare. With some of the strictest asset protection laws in the entire country, Rhode Island judges do not mess around with separate property. Under this specific agreement, Travis gets absolutely nothing, meaning no spousal support, no access to her business appreciation, and no shared assets unless they explicitly purchase them together using equal funds. Facing a catastrophic reality check right now, Travis finds himself completely cut off from the billion-dollar safety net he spent months banking on. The resulting fallout is already destroying his career as brand deals quietly pause their negotiations. Sponsors are backing away while his gold digger image goes viral and his podcast numbers plummet day by day. Seeing the truth clearly, the public knows he tried exploiting the biggest pop star on the planet and got caught red-handed. Panic mode has fully consumed his management team since they know their client bleeds credibility by the second. Scrambling to do damage control feels useless because the evidence is out there and undeniably real. Shocking details emerge from a paper trail of emails sent by his financial advisors that leaked directly to the press. These documents explicitly discussed how merging his brand with hers would secure his long-term wealth long after his football career ended. Calculating the exact return on investment for marrying her, they treated the entire relationship exactly like a corporate business acquisition. Pushing for a quick summer wedding before her legal team could finalize the financial boundaries appeared as a genuine suggestion in one specific email. Pure manipulation drove his actions as he smiled for the cameras while his people plotted to secure a piece of her massive empire. Securing these communications proved easy for Taylor because she had eyes everywhere and knew exactly what he was attempting behind her back. Tears never fell, and begging never happened, because Taylor simply went to war. Handing him a binder of terms, she completely emasculated his financial standing within the relationship. Traveling together now requires him to pay for his own seat on her private jet and staying in her mansions earns him zero equity. Legally required to maintain his own separate investments, he cannot use her name or likeness to secure independent brand deals without her express written permission. Being entirely financially isolated makes this the most brutal prenup in Hollywood history, and every single word of it is completely justified. Humiliation has entirely consumed Travis, while the sports world openly laughs at him. Playing the tough NFL star means nothing when you just got financially tackled by your own girlfriend. Thinking his presence alone earned him a blank check proved to be a massive miscalculation. Looking at a future where he has to pay his own way while standing next to a billionaire has completely shattered his ego. Handling the stark reality of this gender role reversal seems impossible for a man who cannot accept that she holds all the power. Silence echoes from his teammates while his friends stop defending him, leaving him to watch his carefully crafted nice guy persona dissolve into absolutely nothing. Thriving in the aftermath, Taylor provides an incredible contrast to his total collapse. Stepping out in public looking more powerful than ever, she wears designer suits and smiles brightly for the paparazzi. Winning this battle means everything to her because she successfully protected the music, the real estate, and the legacy she built entirely from the ground up. Proving that no man will ever take advantage of her success cements her status as a self-made titan. Refusing to apologize for guarding the gates to her kingdom sets a massive example for women everywhere. Protecting your assets remains paramount, and never letting a partner view your success as their personal lottery ticket is the ultimate lesson here. Exhaustion is written all over Travis as the stress of his failed manipulation takes a severe physical toll. Dodging questions about the wedding has become his daily routine while he desperately avoids the press. The summer date they supposedly planned currently hangs completely up in the air as he remains trapped in a prison of his own making. Signing the Rhode Island prenup forces him to admit defeat and accept that he will never touch her money. Agreeing to be the lesser financial partner for the rest of his life sounds awful, but refusing to sign means the relationship instantly ends. Walking away strips him of the massive fame boost and severs his connection to her global audience, which means he loses absolutely everything. Blinded by greed, Travis genuinely thought he could outsmart a woman who has legally outmaneuvered entire record labels. Forgetting exactly who he was dealing with became his fatal error. Making mistakes with her money simply does not happen in Taylor Swift's world, and she certainly never leaves loopholes for anyone to exploit. Hiring the best lawyers on earth allows her to crush anyone attempting to cross her path. Leaked drafts show she even included an infidelity clause, ensuring that if Travis steps out of line, he owes her millions in reputation damages. Putting a financial collar around his neck might sound ruthless, but the execution is undeniably brilliant, exposing the dark side of celebrity romance. This entire situation revealed a high-stakes chess game hiding behind a supposedly perfect match. Playing for a massive payday drove Travis from the very beginning, while Taylor focused entirely on protection. Attempting to draft a California-based contract highlighted his team's profound lack of respect for her massive professional achievements, automatically granting him half of whatever she earned during the marriage using community property laws. Was their ultimate goal. Stealing her future required a disgusting level of entitlement, and this blatant attempt proves his intentions were never pure. Controlling the narrative is now completely impossible for him. Erasing the receipts cannot happen. Unreading the emails is impossible, and the public knows exactly what he tried to accomplish. Taking the blame for his own downfall is his only option because he could have been genuinely happy with his $90 million, enjoying a successful career. Alongside a real relationship was right there in front of him, but he greedily wanted her billions instead, costing him his reputation, his leverage, and his pride. That intense greed destroyed his life. Scrambling to save whatever is left of his brand feels useless when the damage is this permanent, and the world finally sees the real Travis Kelce. Untouched by the chaos, Taylor watches her empire continue to grow. Rallying behind her defensive strategy, fans know exactly how hard she fought to own her life's work. Forgiving anyone who tries. Taking it from her is something they will never do. Functioning as more than Just a legal document, the billionaire prenup stands as a massive statement of dominance and a warning to anyone thinking they can ride her coattails to the bank. Paying for everything she owns is a point of pride for Taylor Swift, but paying for a man who tries manipulating her is where she draws the line. The wedding might actually still happen, but the power dynamic remains permanently set in stone. Swallowing his pride and signing on the dotted line is the only path forward for Travis. Accepting the humiliating terms requires him to agree that he is financially irrelevant when facing her massive wealth, becoming forever known as the man forced into financial submission will be his legacy if he signs the paperwork. Confirming every single gold digger accusation becomes his reality if he decides to walk away. Instead, winning simply does not exist for him anymore. Playing a highly dangerous game with a mastermind resulted in his absolute destruction. His lies finally cost him his entire legacy, and while he thought he was scoring the ultimate touchdown, he just suffered the biggest loss of his entire life. Behind closed doors, the legal teams continue battling, but the war already concluded. Holding all the cards allowed Taylor to dictate both the location and the severe terms of their agreement. Exposing his true motives completely neutralized Travis, turning him into a mere passenger within her massive world, having absolutely no say in the financial future of their relationship is his new reality. Dating a billionaire who refuses to be played comes with brutal consequences. Respecting the boundaries is mandatory, and failing to do so guarantees you get publicly humiliated by the receipts, systematically dismantling every single attempt Travis made to secure a financial foothold became her team's primary focus. Shutting down his lawyers when they brought up joint checking accounts happened almost instantly. Laughing them directly out of the room was Taylor's response to suggestions about shared property investments. Reaching an unprecedented level of detail, her asset protection strategy even secured the future value of her unreleased songs, ensuring that any income generated from her past, present, or future endeavors remains entirely out of his reach was her final move. Locking Travis firmly on the outside, she successfully built an impenetrable fortress of wealth, haunting his career for years to come. The fallout from this massive leak is just beginning. Pristine reputations are what sponsors demand from athletes, not a public record of trying to drain a beloved pop star's bank account. Jeopardizing his lucrative commercial deals happened overnight, and his future broadcasting opportunities are shrinking fast. Watching how he handled this delicate negotiation left the corporate world entirely disgusted by his blatant cash grab, proving himself untrustworthy in both business and love ruined his marketability. Spinning hard evidence is impossible, no matter how desperately his management team tries, because the emails and the drafted California prenup speak clearly for themselves. Digging beneath the Rhode Island maneuver, Taylor's forensic accountants uncovered even more disturbing financial truths. Risky investments consumed millions of Travis's dollars over the last 2 years, as he poured cash into speculative real estate and volatile crypto ventures, keeping his liquid cash far lower than the public believed. Created a silent crisis behind the scenes. Panicking about his cash flow just months before the wedding talks escalated, his financial advisors hatched the plan to access Taylor's immense wealth. Bailing out his bad decisions required her liquidity, and keeping his lavish lifestyle afloat depended entirely on her billion-dollar safety net. Blowing his cover completely, the mandatory preliminary financial disclosures allowed Taylor's team to discover the entire scheme, burning through his NFL salary at an alarming rate. The documents revealed Travis spending obscene amounts on private flights, designer wardrobes, and massive entourages. Absorbing those ridiculous costs once they were married was what he fully expected Taylor to do. Rescuing him financially became his ultimate goal for their union. However, Taylor does not rescue manipulators. She actively destroys them. Confronting him with the hard evidence resulted in a spectacular and humiliating meltdown. Witnesses describe a frantic scene where Travis desperately tried blaming his management for the aggressive contract drafts, claiming he had absolutely no idea they were pushing for California community property laws. He swore he never saw the emails plotting the corporate merger of their brands, telling a completely different story. The digital footprint proved his personal signature sat squarely on the initial authorization forms, approving the direct attack on her assets was something he fully understood and endorsed from the start. Breathtaking in its swiftness, Taylor's retaliation went far beyond just drafting a new prenup. Drafting a brutal financial non-disclosure agreement ensured that if Travis ever speaks about her wealth or the terms of the Rhode Island contract, he faces catastrophic financial penalties. Silencing him both legally and financially means he is never allowed to write a book or discuss her in any future interviews. Being entirely muzzled is his new reality, wielding the true power of a billionaire who knows her worth looks exactly like this, tearing him apart daily. The sports media has completely erased his former tough guy image, mocking him openly. Commentators and analysts constantly call out his immense greed and his failed manipulation. Facing relentless public humiliation, he cannot even post on social media without thousands of comments demanding he either sign the prenup or leave her alone entirely. Becoming a walking cautionary tale is the fate of anyone trying to date far above their financial weight class. Swindling a mastermind is a game you will always lose, proving once again why she is an unstoppable force. Taylor showed the world she does far more than just write songs about betrayal. Anticipating betrayal allows her to prepare for it by building legal walls so high that absolutely no one can ever breach them, turning the ultimate symbol of romantic commitment into a brilliant masterclass in wealth preservation. Cemented her legacy, exposing a manipulator, protected her empire, and permanently secured her financial independence. Pulling off the biggest heist in celebrity history was Travis Kelce's ultimate goal. Orchestrating his own total and utter destruction was the only thing he actually achieved, and the architect of his own downfall will pay the heavy price of his lies for the rest of his natural life.